Before millions of fans ever knew her as Wonder Woman, before the red boots, the golden lasso, and the global fame, Lynda Carter was just a quiet young girl growing up in Arizona, dreaming of something bigger than anyone around her could imagine. She wasn't born into Hollywood royalty. She didn't have powerful agents, magazine headlines, or paparazzi waiting at her front door. In her earliest photographs, she appears shy, hopeful, slightly unsure of her future. And yet there is a spark in her eyes that almost feels prophetic, a spark that would later change television history. Many fans think they know Lynda Carter because of her most iconic role. But the photos you're about to see tell a completely different story, one that never made it into promotional posters, glossy magazine covers, or talk show interviews. These are private snapshots from her childhood, beauty pageant days, behind-the-scenes rehearsals, emotional family life, and darker seasons of her career that Hollywood never wanted to celebrate. Some are simple, candid moments captured without lighting, makeup, or stylists. Others show her exhaustion, her insecurities, the price of fame, and the fragile distance between a superhero on screen and the vulnerable woman behind the mask. Every photograph you're about to witness is a small doorway into a phase of her life, her early innocence, her meteoric rise, her heartbreaks, her personal struggles, and eventually, her graceful reinvention as a timeless icon. No actor, not even one as adored as Lynda Carter, lives a perfect life, and the rare images we uncover in this journey quietly reveal a truth she never shouted from a stage. Fame may shape a legend, but it never protects the person living inside it. And the very next photo will show where destiny first whispered her name. Long before television executives and magazine photographers knew her name, Lynda Carter lived a life far removed from celebrity culture. She grew up in a modest Arizona setting, where the rhythm of everyday life felt simple, warm, and deeply rooted in family traditions. Her earliest private photographs show a young girl surrounded by soft desert landscapes, sitting on porches, playing music, and smiling shyly at the camera, as if she barely understood how unforgettable her face would one day become. She wasn't rehearsing for fame back then. She was just living as a creative child with a natural fascination for art, rhythm, and imagination. Those images capture a softness that never appeared in her Hollywood portfolio. Sunlit bedrooms, local school performances, casual birthday gatherings, and quiet afternoons spent at home practicing piano. Her family encouraged artistic expression, helping her feel safe enough to explore her voice long before anyone else ever heard it. While her confidence grew slowly, her deep emotional sensitivity was already visible in those pictures. The young Lynda didn't crave spotlight. She craved connection, storytelling, music, and the feeling of creating something heartfelt. She didn't stand out because she was trying to. She stood out because she loved expressing herself. Local talent shows and school events became her first stage, where she learned how it felt to transform emotion into performance. Childhood portraits reveal a girl who always looked thoughtful, a little mysterious, and surprisingly determined. Even when she didn't understand it completely, she felt drawn towards something larger, a calling she couldn't fully define yet. Those early photos represent a chapter untouched by the pressure that later came with celebrity. No stylists, no reporters, no makeup tables, just the innocence of a young dreamer learning how to communicate with the world. And while no one around her could foresee the icon she would become, the clues were there, hiding gently in each frame: the calm confidence, the emotional depth, the magnetic presence that even at a young age didn't need anything flashy to feel extraordinary. But the moment she stepped in front of a pageant camera, everything changed almost overnight. Lynda Carter's transition from a quiet Arizona upbringing to the bright lights of pageantry didn't happen by accident. She entered her first beauty contest as a way to explore confidence, not fame. Early pageant photographs reveal someone still learning how to handle public attention: elegant gowns, nervous posture, and a smile that felt genuine rather than rehearsed. At first, she treated these events like artistic performances rather than competitions, but judges and audiences noticed something magnetic about her presence. She wasn't just another contestant trying to impress a crowd. She had a natural aura that made people stop and stare. In picture after picture, you can almost feel the moment where she begins realizing that her voice, grace, and poise could open doors she had never imagined. Winning Miss Phoenix brought her more exposure, and soon after, the Miss Arizona crown pushed her into a spotlight much brighter than anything she had known. Every stage photograph from that period tells a different emotional story: excitement, uncertainty, pride, and the first taste of public expectation. Modeling agencies began requesting her portfolio, and offers appeared from sources she didn't even believe would take her seriously. Suddenly, the camera wasn't capturing a young dreamer anymore. It was documenting a transformation. Gowns became grander, posture more confident, and lighting more glamorous. Yet these images also reveal the earliest hints of pressure. Pageantry demanded perfection, flawless beauty, constant poise, and a polished smile, even when she was exhausted or overwhelmed. What makes this stage of her life fascinating isn't the trophies, it's how fast the world began shaping her before she understood how to protect herself. She learned that visibility meant constant judgment, and every new public photograph became a silent contract: look perfect, act charming, never reveal vulnerability. But the reward for all that effort was life-changing. One set of pageant portraits crossed the desk of influential casting executives, and within months, Hollywood began whispering her name. Invitations appeared for auditions, screen tests, and television pilots, all because the camera captured something impossible to ignore. But stepping into the world of acting brought pressures she never expected, and the photos from that period tell a far more complicated story. When Lynda Carter finally landed the role of Wonder Woman, everything around her changed with dizzying speed. One moment she was auditioning for television roles that barely paid attention to her talent, and the next she was stepping into a superhero costume that would redefine her identity on a global stage. The early studio photographs from costume tests are stunning, not because of the vibrant colors or comic book aesthetic, but because they capture her emotional uncertainty. Behind the confident stance and graceful posture, there is a woman still trying to understand how enormous this opportunity truly was. She wasn't just starring in a television show, she was becoming a cultural symbol, a representation of power, beauty, and feminine independence, at a time when mainstream media often overlooked women's strength. As cameras began rolling, her life morphed into long shooting days filled with fight choreography, demanding stunts, endless retakes, interviews, press tours, and autograph sessions. Candid behind-the-scenes photos reveal the exhaustion beneath the glamour. Hairstylists adjusting her curls, makeup artists refreshing foundation between takes, and production assistants guiding her from one location to another. Between shots, she rested on folding chairs, studying scripts, or quietly rehearsing lines while keeping that polished Hollywood smile ready for any photographer who stepped onto the set. These private snapshots tell a much more complex story than polished magazine spreads ever hinted at. The world fell in love instantly. Television audiences connected with her elegance and kindness, while tabloids focused obsessively on her physical beauty. Magazine covers and promotional posters transformed her from a working actress into a fantasy figure that millions adored. Every photograph fans collected became a part of her mythology, stronger, more dramatic, more flawless than any ordinary person could ever live up to. Fame brought thrilling attention, but it also came with a cost. She lost the ability to go grocery shopping or take a quiet walk without strangers staring, requesting photos, or making comments. Privacy faded as the borders between performance and real life dissolved. But as fame intensified, private emotions grew heavier, and the next set of photos shows a woman struggling to protect parts of her heart that Hollywood could never understand. As her career continued, Lynda Carter's personal challenges deepened in ways the public never suspected. She carried the pressure of being a cultural icon long after the Wonder Woman series ended, and maintaining that image became emotionally draining. Hollywood promotes beauty, perfection, and glamour, but seldom offers support for the people trapped inside those expectations. Candid photographs from this period capture a woman who looked increasingly worn, searching for peace behind closed doors. She faced long stretches of anxiety, overwhelming schedules, and a lifestyle that demanded constant grace, even when she felt exhausted or emotionally fragile. The industry rarely allowed space for vulnerability, and every public appearance became another performance, not for a role, but for survival. Reports later suggested she struggled with dependency issues, and while she faced them with honesty in interviews later in life, the photos from that time speak in a quieter language. Some were taken in dimly lit rooms at home without makeup, showing her leaning into emotional support from close friends or relatives. Others captured a controlled sadness in her eyes during red carpet events, reminding us that fame can hide more than it reveals. She never wanted pity, she wanted understanding. And even when she appeared strong, she was often wrestling with heavy emotions behind the scenes. She admitted that seeking help was one of the most difficult decisions she ever made, not because she feared judgment from strangers, but because she wanted to stay strong for her family. Despite the hardships, these photos also show resilience. You can see her attending support gatherings, spending time in nature, meditating, practicing music, and surrounding herself with people she trusted deeply. Each candid moment reflects hope rather than defeat, proof that she was far more than her struggles. Instead of letting emotional pressure define her, she gradually reclaimed her sense of self, step by step, day by day. Healing wasn't glamorous or cinematic, it was quiet, personal, and heartbreaking, but deeply courageous. And once she regained control of her life, her creative evolution surprised the world because the next chapter of photos reveals a Lynda Carter no one one expected to see again. Once emotional healing began shaping her inner life, Lynda Carter returned to something that had always grounded her long before superheroes and magazine covers: music. Her childhood passion for singing and live performance resurfaced with renewed intensity, and the photographs from this period capture a woman rediscovering purpose, not fame. Unlike studio portraits from her earlier acting days, these images show her on intimate stages, holding microphones with natural confidence, eyes closed as she immersed herself in each lyric. She wasn't trying to charm an audience anymore. She was expressing emotion freely, without the burden of being Wonder Woman. Concert photos reveal her surrounded by talented musicians, elegant lighting, and appreciative listeners who came for her voice rather than nostalgia. This reinvention didn't happen overnight. She practiced relentlessly, writing songs, rehearsing in quiet rooms, and studying arrangements with seasoned instrumentalists. Backstage photographs show handwritten notes, crumpled lyric sheets, and candid laughter between rehearsals. She embraced a new community that valued her authenticity as an artist, not as a symbol of beauty. Her music blended jazz, blues, and soft pop influences, allowing her to channel personal stories without scripted dialogue. On stage, she appeared comfortable and grounded, letting herself feel joy again, something that seemed distant for years. Television appearances and touring brought a new kind of recognition. Instead of reporters asking about costumes or stunts, they wanted to discuss creativity, songwriting, and artistic fulfillment. Music liberated her from roles written by others. She was finally performing material that came from her own heart. Photos from live shows reflect emotional intensity, arms lifted, expressive gestures, and a radiance that had nothing to do with age or glamour. She seemed more at ease in a sparkling gown under warm stage lights than she ever was on a Hollywood set surrounded by paparazzi. Lynda Carter wasn't trying to reinvent her legacy. She was expanding it, proving that talent grows rather than fades. And the warmth in these concert photos reveals a woman finally living on her own terms, free from the expectations that once controlled her identity. But her story didn't end with a creative comeback. The next set of images introduces an elegant, empowered later life, where Lynda Carter transformed from icon into legend. As the decades moved forward, Lynda Carter embraced a new chapter that many aging celebrities fear, yet she wore it with extraordinary confidence and dignity. Modern photographs of her reveal an elegance untouched by time, silver highlights in her hair, poised posture, charismatic smiles, and a presence that feels even more powerful than in her 20s. Unlike earlier promotional imagery crafted for ratings or magazine sales, these later portraits capture authenticity, wisdom, and a serene self-assurance. She no longer asked the camera to adore her, it simply did. Fans who once idolized the superhero now admired the woman behind it, celebrating the emotional resilience she earned through life's victories and private storms. Public events in recent years show her walking red carpets with the calm glow of someone who understands her legacy, but is no longer defined by it. She appears alongside younger stars, advocates for charity causes, embraces fans warmly, and speaks about empowerment with steady conviction. No longer pressured to be flawless, she demonstrates what aging with confidence looks like, the ability to show depth without apology. Editorial photo shoots highlight the refined fashion sense she developed over time. Elegant gowns, bold jewelry, tailored suits, all carrying the same magnetism she had in her youth, but now enriched with maturity and emotional grounding. Even casual snapshots taken by admirers reveal the same graceful energy. Whether she's walking through airports, attending fundraisers, performing music on stage, or simply enjoying a quiet dinner with friends, she carries the comfort of someone who understands that beauty has never belonged to age. It belongs to presence. Her image today inspires fans across generations, encouraging them to see strength, not in perfection, but in living honestly and evolving proudly. She has become more than a pop culture icon. She represents endurance, creativity, and the truth that identity keeps expanding long after public fame fades. These modern photos are not about nostalgia. They celebrate a woman who survived emotional storms, reinvented her artistry, protected her loved ones, and learned how to love her life without needing approval from cameras or critics. But one final photograph in her personal archive captures everything: the woman she was, the icon she became, and the human spirit that carried her forward. And it brings our journey to a touching close. Through these rare photographs, we've witnessed more than a celebrity biography. We've seen the emotional evolution of a woman who lived a life far richer and more complex than her most famous character ever allowed the world to understand. Behind the crown, the costume, the magazine lights, and the adoring crowds, Lynda Carter remained deeply human, vulnerable, romantic, fiercely loyal, creatively restless, and determined to protect her heart from the chaos that accompanies fame. Each phase of her life, whether captured in candid snapshots or elegant portraits, tells a story of resilience. A soft-spoken child discovering her voice, a young woman drawn into pageantry, a groundbreaking actress navigating celebrity pressure, a mother preserving her private world, an artist reinventing her purpose, and an icon aging with grace instead of fear. These images remind us that legends are built with far more than achievements or fan admiration. They are shaped through heartbreak, uncertainty, risk, and the courage to keep creating when applause fades. And perhaps that is why Lynda Carter continues to captivate audiences today, not because she once wore a superhero costume, but because she lived a life that required real strength, the kind that can't be scripted, staged, or choreographed. Her photographs don't freeze glamorous moments, they record emotional truths, allowing us to see how identity matures when the spotlight shifts. If you enjoyed this intimate journey, there is another story waiting for you that carries the same emotional depth and powerful visual storytelling. It explores another Hollywood legend through private photos, intimate memories, and unseen emotional chapters. To continue this historical experience, make sure to binge watch our previous video, a rare and personal documentary revealing Nicole Kidman, most private photos you must see, an untold story. It is filled with hidden images, moving revelations, and a deeply cinematic narrative that perfectly complements everything you've just experienced. Thank you for spending this time with us and keeping the spirit of classic Hollywood alive. You're watching Vintage Spotlight, where forgotten moments become unforgettable histories. Stay curious, stay nostalgic, and never stop exploring the stories behind the faces that shaped entertainment forever.